I want to welcome you to this week's edition of eimagineBetter. As Lee likes to say, I am grateful to be here and I'm glad to be here. So I want to tell a quick story. I had a conversation with a friend of mine who just happens to be a therapist. And in the conversation, one of the things that she had said is how drawn people are to the familiar. Regardless of whether it's healthy for them, they're drawn to the familiar. The unknown is just scary. It's kind of the old saying, the hell I know versus the hell I don't. People are just drawn to the familiar. And I was really interested in talking to her through that and just thinking about patterns in your life of choices that you make that might seem easy because they're familiar. And I took away from that conversation, does that show up at work? Do I see that here at eImagine? Do I see that in our delivery? Do I see that in our team interaction? And I think that I do. I was meeting with another group of our team and we were going through documenting our process. We were working on our quarterly rock. And what I saw was really good work getting done. And what it was doing was documenting our current process, the process that we're familiar with. And we're documenting that and trying to replicate that for future deliveries. And I just kept thinking to myself, I think that is complicated. What we have down, what we're trying to cover is everything. We're familiar with everything we're trying to do, and it's really complicated. And then we're trying to scale that complexity when really that unfamiliar part is the simplicity side. How can we simplify? How can we scale that process back or scale back maybe the directive that we give to allow people to give a little bandwidth? But it was a really good conversation, maybe just in my own head, between what we were doing and trying to make sure we cover everything. We're very familiar with that. And then this unfamiliar side of being simple and trying to simplify the process that we're working on and what we're trying to do. And I really just found myself kind of caught between two choices there, the familiar and the unknown, or the complex and the simple in this case in my mind. And I just wanted to pose that thought. So as you're out there, you're thinking through stuff and you're seeing things, see where you gravitate to. When you make a decision, why are you making that decision? Is it because that's the familiar decision? It just seems right. I always choose blue. I always turn right. I always do that. I don't know. Maybe try to go the other way. Maybe try something new. Get yourself outside your comfort zone there. Go with the unfamiliar. Maybe something that scares you. Even at work, I would say suggest give yourself a chance on that. But it really was interesting for me to take the conversation from my therapist friend, bring it into work and play with it and see where it shows up at work. And that pattern really does show up. So I'm really kind of challenging us to get outside of our comfort zone, get away from the familiar. I call that simplifying things and moving. So just something to think about as you plot out your week. When I think back to lessons learned about the week and thinking about familiar and thinking about pushing myself outside my comfort zone, thinking about connecting with employees, I think it was a fantastic week. I hope there's something in here that makes you think how to be better or imagine yourself better. Imagine better.